This is Kishore Kata. This is my first video about learning programming. And today's topic is functional programming, and we'll be using Java for this exercise. So, there's certainly a lot of advanced concepts in functional programming. I'm not going to go into those details. I'm trying to stay really basic. You know, this video will help you understand how functional programming is actually different from non-functional programming. Um, the reason why I'm trying to make this video is, I was going through an interview for my company, and the person that I was interviewing had functional programming in his resume, and he is fresh graduate of the college, and it is really interesting for me to see somebody having functional programming on the resume coming out of college. And I asked him, "Hey, what do you know about functional programming?" And he said, like, I know how to create classes and functions. That's all about it. So that is misconception, right? Creating a functions in a Java class is not a functional programming. Functional programming has certain guidelines and that you want to follow. I'm going to talk about some of those basic things about functional programming in today's exercise. One of the main thing about functional programming is exposing behavior. In the past, you know, traditionally the programs and classes used to expose data, and data is passed around, and whatever that business logic is set aside, and you push the data into it, the business logic gets executed and the output is given, right? The data is kind of passed between different Java classes. So in functional programming, the main goal is to not move the data around. Let's expose the behavior, and let's expose the behavior to the class that you know that is going to hold on to the data. By doing this, you have a full control on the behavior. I'm not going to go into too deep into the concepts, right? I'm going to use a simple example that is going to help you understand the difference between functional programming and non-functional programming. Today, I'm going to use my favorite IDE, which is IntelliJ, for the exercise. And let's take a scenario. Somebody came to you and asking for, hey, I want to build a calculator. To build a calculator, I want the capability to to add two numbers to some two numbers. So I want to build that capability. So traditionally, people used to do is they used to create a Java class, right? I think I'm gonna name this Java class as addition. Cancel that. And my requirement says that I should be able to add two numbers, right? I'm gonna create a method that is going to return an integer. For this example, I'm gonna take a simple scenario. I am only adding integers, okay? And add two numbers, right? An int number one, first number, and int second number, right? So, and I'm gonna return, first plus second, and the problem solved. So I have a function that is going to add two numbers and return the value, and my requirement has been met. So somebody is trying to build a calculator, right? So let's say we'll talk about calculator. So there is a calculator class, and within the calculator class, and they're trying to use um, what are the number that we created, right? So uh, new addition, right? And two numbers. I'm sending 12 plus 13 and sum is equal to, right? So it's working, right? It's really working. There's no issues. I know the sum of two numbers now from the calculator. And let's see how the functional programming is going to look. Okay, so then in this case, I'm actually creating. So in functional programming, you want to expose behavior, right? You don't want to expose data. So then, in this case, to add two numbers, right? You want to build your number. So I'm going to call a number class, right? So and the number class, I want to be able to hold a number. So I'm creating an int value as a class variable, sorry, instance variable, right? Then I will let the constructor accept this as part of the input, right? So I will say int underscore value. So and this dot value, this always refers to the instance variable, right? If you don't know that, then so when I'm creating my number object, I can send whatever the desired value and it gets set in my number object. Okay, so now I have a number. So the ask is I should be able to add two numbers, right? So how about let's expose the add behavior on the number. So I will create an add operation on the number. If you add two numbers, you get another number, right? You want to return that number. So add. So since this is actually operating on an instance variable, I have this dot value, right? Plus this number to add dot value. This is going to sum up as a new number. So I will be returning a new number for this. Okay. Okay. So in this case, right, what I'm doing is I'm doing a little bit more coding, because we're trying to construct a number class which is going to expose, an add function. So let's come back to the calculator, right? So now let's try to use the number. Okay, so in this case, I want to create my first number is equal to new number, right? This is 12. So I'm creating my second number, right? Is equal to new number 13. So I am going to do the sum. Number sum is equal to first dot add second. Right. This doesn't look much different from what I'm doing here. But here is the catch, right? Someone comes and asks you, hey, you know what? My requirement changed. Can you make it three numbers, right? So you gotta go into this. I should be able to add three numbers now, right? And you're gonna go say that, oh, okay, I'm gonna do 3 plus 3. You can really do that, but and then you're gonna say that and sum three numbers. This is equal to additions, right? So every time you have to change the behavior. So let's You can really do that if you wanted to. But in this case, if someone says that, hey, I have a third number to add, so then add, new number, right? Okay. And let's say, hey, no, no, not three. I want to do four numbers, right? You can easily extend the uses of what you created in functional programming is much easier. And in this case, you have to always go back and change the implementation of your addition, right? Addition is more of a function that is operating on a data. In this case, you're exposing the behavior on the actual data itself that is allowing you to more flexible way to extend however you want. And also when you look at this code is easily understood, right? In a first is add to second and then added to third and then to fourth. But in this case, we have to rely on somebody providing good, names for the convention that is used when creating the class and functions, right? The functional programming, all in all, kind of it actually makes your code elegant, easily extendable, and easy to understand. That's all for now. If you like the video, and click the like button,